I love Habakkuk. He's having a horrible day. He's overwhelmed. He's frustrated. I can relate. Do you ever get overwhelmed? Yeah. Frustrated at times? Yeah. We're not the only ones. Pick any saint. St. Francis de Sales, St. Anthony, St. Francis of Assisi, Maximilian Kolbe, Mother Teresa, John Paul II. Any of the saints who have gone before us have at times felt frustrated and overwhelmed. But not only them. Turn to the scriptures. Our Lord becomes frustrated and overwhelmed at times. To be frustrated and overwhelmed is not a sin. It's not. But what you and I can never do is you and I can never add to the rage, to the violence, to the turmoil around us. We cannot be conformed to this world, because here we are conformed to Christ. The saints who have gone before us, they are our heroes. And they show us how to get through the dark times, the times of violence, the times of frustration, the times that seem so overwhelming. And you are heroes to me. Whenever I'm together with the other priests, I always brag about you guys, about what a great church, what a great people St. Mary's is. I tell the other priests about all the wonderful things you are accomplishing, how you are touching the world locally and globally through your tithing of the tithe, how you care about the poor through the community meal, through the work with Catholic Worker House, with our collections, food collections. I tell people how you touch other people's lives through your care for them, through our prayer shawl ministry and ministry after ministry after ministry. How you love one another. How you love your children. Sacrifice so much for them. How you lay down your lives for your spouses. How you care for your parents. And I brag about you, and I know that you do these things not to get acknowledgement. You do what you are obliged to do as a servant of God. This is how God's beloved children live, the way you live. And that's an inspiration. But what we can never do in the midst of the darkness is give in to the ways of the world. As frustrating as it may be at times, as overwhelmed as we can be, we must stay the course. And I know how difficult it is at times. You have to embrace the hardship of the gospel. It's not easy to defend and to explain our faith to others at times, and yet that's exactly what you do. It's not easy, and each one of us needs encouragement at times. We have our Lord encouraging the prophet Habakkuk in today's first reading, assuring him who cries out, violence everywhere, assuring him that God's promises will come to be, to persevere in faith. And if you persevere in faith, the just will live. We have in our second reading Timothy, a bishop in the church, in that early church, a bishop consecrated by the hands of St. Paul. And we see St. Paul encouraging his brother bishop to persevere, to not be ashamed of the gospel, to trust in the power that God has given to him. And in our gospel today, we have the incredibly beautiful and sincere request of the apostles. Lord, increase our faith. At the heart of all of these readings, in the midst of such great obstacles, in the midst of frustrating and difficult times, the Lord places something seemingly insignificant at the heart of his teaching today. A mustard seed. In the midst of the growing darkness, in the midst of the violence, the Lord speaks about a small seed, a mustard seed, barely even perceptible. A mustard seed weighs 0.002 grams. That's almost nothing. If you're like me, you prefer the imperial system. A mustard seed weighs 0.00007 ounces. Barely even perceptible. See how small that is? Hold out your hand. I'm going to give this to you. I got 2 of them. It's almost nothing. And yet, within that seed is power. A great tree can grow up from that little tiny seed. The Lord is telling us that in the midst of seemingly overwhelming odds, if you and I have the faith of a mustard seed, that we can say to this mulberry tree, be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it will happen. The Lord is telling us that we should not be fearful about the amount of faith that we have been given, but just a little bit of faith. If we trust in that faith, if we act on that faith, will be enough. That your faith, as the heroes, as the saints of today, has power. That the decisions you are making with your children and in the community to live your faith, to be here, to be conformed to Christ, will change the world. He is telling us that while it may seem in the eyes of the world that we are down and out, that it may seem to the eyes of the world that our battle for the sanctity of life has been defeated, that we will stay the course. We will continue to proclaim the gospel of life, and the cross will prevail. That there is life after this time of suffering. That we must stay the course. Stay the course. And so, yes, like the saints who have gone before us, like our Lord Jesus Christ, you and I, we get overwhelmed at times. We can feel frustrated. We can wonder, why doesn't God act now? But the truth is, God is acting now in and through your faithfulness, in and through the faith that you have been given, through your testimony. And so we will not be ashamed. We will embrace the hardship that is ours. And we will stay the course because we are not alone. We go forth with Christ. Christ is with you.